Hey guys, and welcome back to the Mewsh Chaos Galaxy channel. I have a lot of videos ready for you guys that I'm gonna be posting. I just keep forgetting that I have a channel. But today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. We're gonna be doing a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a ramble. I've got some notes on my phone here. Because a lot of people recently they've been complaining about the Chaos Galaxy ban list, and they're worried about like the state of the game and the future of the game. And as somebody who's played Chaos Galaxy for a long time, I first discovered the channel in like middle school and started playing in tournaments in high school. And now I'm out of school, so I feel like I might have some perspective to bring to like newer players who are kind of worried about the format, and kind of just throw my thoughts out on it. So I think it's a pretty interesting subject. So obviously the concern is with the most recent ban list, which I might put here. There's lots of people worried about Polysium being too strong, the meta not being diverse enough, and it just overall, like all around being pretty either boring or just like obnoxious, and they're worried about either people quitting the game or nobody new joining the game and stuff like that. And so I've heard people asking for like emergency ban lists or us reverting to older ban lists and stuff like that, which I'm generally opposed to, but I understand the concern. Obviously, I think that people always complain about ban lists. Like last format, people were complaining about like field or Bob, the game being too slow. People complained about Gehenna for a while. Format before that, people were complaining about Sindel again. Like people have been complaining about Pelfan for years. Like there's always something to complain about. People like way back in the day, people were complaining about Dead Blaze. There's always gonna be something that people are gonna complain about, and I think that like I'm not surprised to see that happening again. Um, there's always gonna be a ban list or a strongest deck that somebody's going to complain about. So I think that like so people who are new, I think this might be like their first time experiencing this, where there's like a lot of people complaining about something. Uh, For example, like way back in the day, or like a couple of years ago, like near beginning of set 4, a lot of people, like we had a big drop in players because a lot of people had the complaint that Sindel was too strong and Gizzrex was like brain dead. Those were like the big takes that people didn't like about the game. Um, and I think the reason that we lost a lot of players back then was because, first of all, like the people who were good at the game, they kind of just like repeated that take, and the people who were less good at the game like picked up that take, and then it just kind of got parroted, and then everybody was like being doom and gloom about it, and then people leave because like the community's negative, and then their experience isn't as fun, and nobody really wants to play, and then that's kind of just like it's stuff like that that kills the community. It's not really the ban list, it's stuff like people being, I think it's the negativity around the community that makes people not want to play and stuff like that. Um, And then generally when we see growth, when we see new people growing, when like joining and like a lot of people playing, it's not really because of the ban list either. Like nobody sees a ban list and goes, "Oh, this is so good, I want to play." Right? I don't think that like never happens. Usually it's a like either like one like new cards coming out, people get hyped for that, so that's one time that people will join. But it's also a lot of like when they see a lot of people playing, a lot of people discussing, when they see like tournaments going on, like that's the kind of stuff that motivates people to play, and not so much like the ban list. So I think like the idea that I'm trying to get across is that like there are going to be ban lists that people don't like for one reason or another, and some are going to be worse than others. It's like there are going to be formats that you really hate, and there are going to be formats that you really like. I don't think there's ever been a ban list that I personally have like really loved. I thought they've all had like pretty big issues. Um, and it's fine to like complain about those things and criticize the game. Chaos Galaxy is definitely not above criticism as much as like Zach has done for the community, even though like a small subject, even though the competitive community is like a small subsection of the larger community, Zach has done a lot of work towards collaborating with us and trying to give us a good ban list and stuff like that. And that's all very appreciated. But there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be things that we don't like. When I was new, one of the big things was like the obnoxious like beginning of the game where like you both had like 3-card hands and there was like no stars. Like that was annoying. And then eventually we talked to Zach about it and it got like improved upon and stuff like that. And that's what like it's okay to like bring those things to Zach's attention. Like We talked about Zach about Shockwave 5 being bad, and Parallel Universe being terrible, and Dark Space here being bad, and it's like okay to discuss those things um and like bring those things to Zach and talk about them and criticize it and whatnot. And those things are all fine and good, but they're not like the things that make the community, like they don't make the community grow, and it shouldn't be like the mindset shouldn't be that we as a community need to fix the game. It's like we as a community need to play the game as it is and improve, because what makes the game hype isn't the ban list or the format, it's like the players. Like when Fish like brings Silence Body to a tournament, like that's the cool part of the game, right? Like when Secret like gets top 2 at like every tournament for a year, like that's the stuff that makes it cool. Like it's like the players innovating and honing and just playing the game that makes it cool. So even if like we had a format like this format is very underdeveloped. Every CG format is pretty underdeveloped because there's not a lot of players playing it, right? But like even if this format had Polysium as tier 0 unbeatable deck, which is far, 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 far from the case. There's a lot of unexplored decks right now, and it's very unoptimized. Even the Polysium and Bugs list right now are like not, I don't think they're that good. And there's a lot to explore in this format still. But like even if there was a Polysium tier 0 format where you only had to play Polysium to win, like there's still so much that can be explored and pushed in that kind of format, right? Like the kind of interactions can be fleshed out. These like decks can still be honed and optimized so much further. Like we don't need, like even if there is no deck diversity, like there are still things to be excited about and to improve upon, and that there's like still cool things about the game, and there's still the players who are the coolest thing about the game. Like that's the coolest thing about the game, right? So yeah, I think there's just a lot of like there's just too much negative energy, guys. That's it. There's too much negative energy. Like when like the biggest like regressions in player base and excitement is when everybody gets doom and gloom about things, and the biggest like growth for the community is when people get really excited about things and start experimenting. Like I was playing against Secret yesterday, and he was trying this weird Night Jungle deck, and I don't know how good it is, but it was fun to play against, and it was cool to see. And that's like the kind of mentality I think people need to have. Like there's a lot of decks that need to be tested. There's a lot of like game plans that need to be fleshed out. There's just a lot to do as a community. And one thing that I think we can't do, and I think we really shouldn't waste our time on, is like trying to change the ban list, because everybody's gonna want different things from the ban list. There's never gonna be a ban list that makes everybody happy. I think like even though everybody was like loving that little mini format where the planetary collections came out but the ban list wasn't out yet, I guarantee you guys in like a couple months there would have been something you guys all hated about that format. Probably there's most likely something that somebody would have complained about. That's just like inevitably that's always gonna happen. So yeah, thinking about like set 4, like that Black Hole Battle tournament, like Black Hole Battles 2, everybody loved that tournament. It was super fun, but like that was cool because everybody in that tournament like was pushing the format. Like we had Fish really optimizing Citadel tempo. We had a bunch of really strong Citadel control players like Oddish and Secret. We had me bringing Burn as a rogue deck and getting second place. That was sick. So that was the sickest thing in the game. It's cool. The cool thing about the game isn't the formats. It's like us developing the formats. Because at the beginning of set 4, the game wasn't as cool. Like there was like people were playing like boring Citadel decks and like just winning. They were like Gizrex players just like playing the most obnoxious, dumbest thing in the world and winning. And what happened was a lot of people like saw that, they were just negative about it, they gave up, and we saw a lot of people leave, and like the community stagnated. But when we don't do that, and then there were no tournaments, and then there's no events, and then there's like nothing to hype about. And when we don't do that, when we like look at the format, take it for what it is, and just like play through it, try to innovate, try to improve, try to hone, like that's what makes the community good. So yeah, I just want people to like think about that. I know a lot of people are not loving the new format, which is fine. There's always gonna be formats that you like more or like less. I know there are some people that love this format. I know there are a lot of like Diamond. He's a big Polysium fan. He loves this format. Obviously, his deck's very strong. It's a fun deck. It's a fun deck. Um, that's just gonna happen sometimes, and that's okay. You don't have to like every format. You don't even have to play every format. There are times where I like didn't play for a couple months because I was burned out, and that's okay. But I think that just as a community, we should focus more on improving, um, just improving ourselves and our decks, and not like trying to change the game and mold it to our liking. Because I think when we just take the game for what it is and just like play through it and try to do the best that we can, like that makes it a lot more fun for everybody. And when everybody outside of the community, when they see that, when they see that we're having fun, we're entering tournaments, we're like having a great time, like improving, like that makes other people want to join. Like I know that there were people who like saw like the streams where me and Quasar were like popping off on commentary, and that like made them want to play because it's an exciting thing. It's like a cool thing that you want to be a part of. So those are like my thoughts on it. Obviously, if you have any thoughts on it, leave down in the comments below. I think this format is cool. I like this format. I like bugs. I'm gonna try to do the best I can, and get ready to do the same. I'm gonna have more videos coming out. I have like 10 pack openings that I haven't posted yet, that I will post, and deck profile that I have to post also. So look forward to that stuff. Subscribe for more Chaos Galaxy stuff. Like, comment, all that. And I will see you later.